Well, surprise, surprise, another video. I work fast. Get in, knock it out in a few pumps, leave, never make contact again, let her raise the kid on her own, cause I ain't got time for that shit. I am a man. Oh my god, I love that dress. Ghost Sweeper Mikami Jorishiwa Nice Body is a Super Famicom platformer loosely based around the anime by the same name. Outside of testing the game on an EverDrive, my experience with this series has been very minimum, but while researching the last game, Mazen Saga, coincidentally came across the title once more, and it was well worth the second look. This is Baby's first Castlevania, and I mean that in a good way. The levels are short, the boss is a decent enough challenge, and you'll most likely beat it in your first playthrough, but you'll also have fun. There is no translation that I'm aware of, however, so you'll need to humor me. I do not speak of the Japanese, I can barely speak English correctly, and am forced to rely on wikis for a lot of this information. What I can tell you is that it seems to represent the earlier events of the series very well. Coming out in '93, 2 years into the manga's 8+ year run, it had plenty of material to go off of. However, the anime had only just started airing when this was released, so things quickly diverge. In a world where urban sprawl has forced the spirits of the dead out into the streets, you play as 31-year-old Rieko Mikami, a professional ghost sweeper, whose job is to help these poor wayward souls by exorcising them and sending them straight to hell. Throughout these missions, she is assisted by her pervy teen intern, Tadao Yokishima, and her ghost girl BFF, Okinu. Our first mission fast forwards us to the 11th episode of the anime, Let's Take the Ghost Train, so it's a bit hard to keep track of. The series itself is 45 episodes, and I have not had the time to run through all of it. The controls are simple but get the job done. B to jump, Y to attack, X for magic. You can also perform a platform swing on specifically marked spots, which doubles as an attack, a tiny feature I wish they utilized more often outside of a gimmick near the end. Dodging some demon sperm and tray tables, we move forward through the train cars, doing our best not to get groped. Yes, ladies, it's the ghosts who might grope you on a train. Spooky, scary ghosts. The first boss is nothing special, just utilize vertical attacks by holding up while keeping yourself moving and he'll go down relatively easy. Level 2, we've got a lovely new dress but decide to immediately ruin our new heels, and I can't help but directly compare this to Super Castlevania 4. We also receive this upgrade to our weapon, and while most players will recommend you hold on to this one as the best special attack in-game, my dumbass immediately lost it when getting knocked into a pit, but I found an extra life, so these ghosts can suck a fat one. A quick ascent up a waterfall and we enter into the Haunted Manor to face off against the Haunted Dolls from episode 3, and if you are paying attention you'll have already noticed the story differences between this and the anime. Again, I am not the most familiar with this franchise, but I believe that a large portion of this game is inspired by the manga, which was 3 years ahead of the short anime run, and in skimming said TV series, I had a hard time finding the later encounters from this game. This boss can be a bit of a challenge compared to the first, but I accidentally discovered that if you attack from the outside, you can control the battlefield much easier, making for another quick victory. Mission 3 opens with our squad hanging out in the office when some rando comes bursting through the window, nailing Rieko with a shrinking dart, typical for an office, and so we chase him down with the help of a friendly cat. The swarms of enemies can be a bit much in places, but with your time stop magic you can minimize the damage you take over the very short run. What have I got? This boss I'm not so fond of. Bottom tier. The difficulty feels fake. He hits you with RNG nonsense that fills the entire screen with trash. Get aggressive and beat him off until he drops. You should be able to tank the hits long enough to survive the encounter. Another stage and another new dress. She looks great in gold, so we do our best to avoid getting any stains on it from these killer tomatoes. And maybe it's just me, but something about this level feels straight out of Mega Man X. I know it's most likely just a coincidence, but both games did release the same year on the exact same console. This part is my fault. Turns out this creepy girl hanging out alone in the woods is Mieko Rakudos, millionaire Shinigami user and best friend to our protagonist. So, I probably shouldn't have hit her with a stick. My bad. For those of you who don't assault random people, you can just leave her alone and walk on by, 0 damage taken. In a complete reversal of our last boss encounter, the Hellhound fight's probably the most balanced in the game, forcing you to react on the spot to its pattern switch-ups, again, very Castlevania in feel. Just keep your composure and attack when you have a safe opening. As long as you play defensive, you'll easily dodge even its most random of attacks. And similar to Turtles in Time, which released 2 years earlier, you can get in some quick whacks on this cute puppy. Are we noticing a pattern?
Oh God, what are you planning on doing with that broom?
Honey, you know exactly where this is going. Bend over.
And now the game transforms into the Cotton series, which you would think means it's the best level in the game. Sadly, the broom controls like a boat, hauling a much larger boat, with sluggish, unresponsive movement that almost makes it feel like a joke. Fortunately, the boss, Count Bloodula, from episode 15, can be cheesed fairly easily with some good timing and placement. Just make sure to stick to the center of the screen when he charges in to ensure you have enough time to drag your broom out of the way, and this should make for another easy win. I previously said she looked good in gold, but green is definitely her color, making for an amazing Poison Ivy cosplay. And she rocks that outfit during our next adventure through a defunct amusement park closed for construction. The conveyor belt section can be a bit tricky, but part of that may come from instinctually treating the floor like lava. Do I really need to explain why? Regardless, sinking will not harm you. At worst, you'll be annoyed when you attempt to leap out. And making a special guest appearance in this boss fight is Jiren from Dragon Ball Super. Yes, I know that's not Jiren, but does anyone really care? Really? The best thing about this boss fight is that you can trap him in an easy loop, completely by accident. Easy win. But the developers must have heard me talking shit, so we get a phase 2 with this one, going full Rat King. Keep that pressure up. You're much better off taking a hit than winding up with a status effect that renders you defenseless for several seconds. Just boop that snoot and we'll soon send our friend to the next dimension. And speaking of other dimensions, our final mission sends us into the Nightmare Realm, filled with erotic art and sexy half-naked bunny girls, which sounds like a dream to me, but whatever. Ironically, this is probably the easiest level in the game, trying to play up that platforming gimmick mentioned earlier, though it comes off as too little too late, ultimately delivering a very weak ending to this run.
Oh, please sleep with me, I'm a really nice guy.
Aw, I like you as a friend. Now that's more like it. Bring that horsecock over here, big boy.
This one I may be completely wrong on, but in the anime, our horse boy, Nightmare, creates a doppelganger of Mikami, known as Shadow. However, I assume this variant is meant to reflect Rieko, and when searching the wiki, could not find a single reference to who she might actually be. If you happen to know, put it in the comments, cause I haven't got a fucking clue. A bit aggressive, she goes down easy enough, and we prepare to take on the big guy himself. And it turns out Nightmare's kind of a bitch. We win. And honestly, I have to agree with Rieko. We really should terminate the parasites. Having collected all 7 Chaos Emeralds, we can now awaken the final boss, who looks nothing at all like their ceramic representation, Medusa. I like Medusa. She's got style and her interactions with Rieko are hilarious. But with her appearing in episode 28, it makes me question how she went from mini-boss to big bad. Whereas Nightmare, the last villain we faced, was from the end of the anime run, coming in at episode 43 of 45. Not the biggest challenge, she can be easily dealt with if you play defensively and choose your moments to attack. This is not a scenario where you should be aggressive. You've got unlimited time and her health pool is anything but large. Medusa's homing attack is the worst thing she'll throw at you, and even that can be swatted away if you play it cool. A few strikes and it's over. We have beaten the game. Rieko can have a well-deserved rest while the intern cleans up the mess. And we can sit back and enjoy the credits as they roll. Is this the deepest game? Not really. Will it challenge you to get good? Fuck no. But if you've got an hour to kill and want the camp version of a Castlevania, then you should definitely give it a look. You will not be disappointed. Thank you for sticking through this one. The audio is a bit rough. Recorded this in the middle of some lovely food poisoning. Not fun. There's many more deep cuts to come, but for the moment, I need to sleep. I hope you enjoyed, and if I happen to wake up again, I'll catch you in the next one.